Welcome everyone to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into something pretty relevant for, well, almost anyone in the professional world, job interviews. More specifically, we've been looking at some material that gives some, frankly, really useful advice on handling two questions. You know the ones. They seem basic, maybe, but they tell employers a whole lot. So our mission here, our goal for this deep dive, is to properly unpack the main strategies and even some of the language tools from this material. We want to get past the simple answers and figure out why these methods work so you can walk into those interviews feeling, actually ready and confident.
Absolutely. And these aren't like some obscure questions you might get once in a blue moon. They're really fundamental. You'll hear variations of them a lot. Getting them right is so important because they tap into things like your self-awareness, your confidence, how well you can actually articulate your value, and crucially, if you understand the job and the company you're applying to.
Yeah, foundational is the right word, but like you said, that doesn't make them easy. So let's tackle the first one head on. It's that really direct question, sometimes feels a bit confronting. Why should we hire you?
It is direct, yeah. But try thinking about it from their side, the interviewer side. They've got your CV, maybe had a quick screening call, and now it's like, okay, your stage. They're basically asking you to, well, cut to the chase. Tell me plainly, why are you the best person for us to invest in? The best bet.
Okay. And the material we're diving into suggests starting the answer in a way that, well, it feels a little bold, maybe. It says instead of just listing skills, start with, I think that I would be a perfect fit in this company.
That opening. What's so good about starting like that?
Well, it's about confidence, isn't it? And perspective. You're not just waiting for them to decide if you fit. You're stating right up front your belief that you do. It's not arrogant, not if you say it genuinely. It's confidence. It shows you've thought about it, you understand the role, you understand them, and it kind of shifts the whole dynamic subtly. You're framing yourself as someone who's done their homework, gets the culture, sees the need, and knows how your skills line up. So the rest of your answer isn't you pleading for a job, it's you providing the evidence for that initial statement, that confident assertion of fit. It just sets a really positive, proactive vibe right from the start.
I see. So you plant that idea, that seed of fit right away.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
But like you mentioned, you can't just say it. You need to back it up, build a case. What's the essential stuff that has to come next? Exactly. Now comes the proof, the evidence. You have to clearly explain what specific value you offer. And this isn't about just, reciting your job description from your last role. No, it's about selecting, curating the most relevant things, the skills, the insights, the experiences that really speak to this company's needs, this role's challenges. The material really emphasizes focusing on your special skills, maybe unique insights or specific relevant experience. What is it about you, your background, your way of solving problems, your specific expertise? What makes you stand out from the crowd? Maybe you've got a rare mix of skills like technical and creative, or you've handled specific problems they're facing right now.
Right. So it means really thinking about yourself and how you specifically match their situation. But how do you make that believable? Just saying I have special skills isn't very convincing, is it?
Not at all. And this is probably the most critical piece of advice in the material. You have got to use very specific, concrete examples. Vague claims just float away. Specific stories stick. You need to give real instances from your past work where you actually use those skills or insights effectively. And this is key. To make those examples really hit home, whenever you possibly can, include numbers or specific quantifiable successes. Numbers give scale, they show impact, they add credibility. It turns something weak like I improved things into something strong like I redesigned the workflow, which cut project delivery time by 15%. See the difference?
Okay, let's really dig into that. The material uses a really good example involving customer support. Can you walk us through that one? Show how they use the specifics and the numbers effectively.
Oh yeah, it's a brilliant example. Really illustrates the point perfectly. So the person in this scenario, they were going for a job where customer satisfaction was obviously really important. They started by talking about their previous experience heading a customer support department. And heading is a useful word here, meaning leading, being in charge of. They didn't just say, yeah, I ran the support team. No. They set the scene. They said initially, the team was resolving about 70% of customer problems effectively. That's 70%. That's the baseline number. Crucial. It shows the starting point, maybe hints there's room to improve. Then they showed how they thought about it, their insight. They figured out why their rate wasn't higher. The team didn't have enough product information, basically not enough technical prep. That shows they diagnosed the root cause, didn't just see the symptom. So what do they do about it? How do they address that weakness? They didn't just point it out. They implemented, this is another key word, meaning put it into action. They implemented a series of training sessions. And they made it even more specific. They did this with the technical department.
That shows collaboration, working across teams. And then, here comes the payoff. The second powerful number. They measured the result of the training. Afterwards, the team could resolve 90% of customer issues. That jumped 70% to 90%. That's not just better. That's a massive, measurable improvement and a 20 percentage point increase, directly tied to what they did.
Wow. Okay, yeah. That's incredibly powerful. It's not just a story. It's a story with data points proving it worked. It shows identifying a problem, thinking strategically, taking action, collaborating, and getting measurable results. That ticks a lot of boxes.
Exactly right. It takes something abstract like, I'm a good leader, or I improve service, and makes it totally concrete. A narrative, challenge, action, measurable triumph. So think about your own experiences. What were the tough spots? What steps did you actually take? What happened? What were the results? Even if you don't have exact percentages down to the decimal, can you estimate? Can you describe the scale? I saved the company roughly X dollars, or I cut down errors significantly, or I led a team of 5 on a project that achieved Y, that kind of thing.
That really makes the whole show don't tell idea feel much more practical. Okay, so you start with the confident fit statement, back it up with these specific data-rich examples of your unique value. How do you wrap it all up? How do you end this answer strongly? The material points to one specific sentence.
Yes, the ending is just as important, just as strategic as the opening. After you've laid out your evidence, your examples, your successes, you bring it right back to the present opportunity with this line. Given the opportunity, I could bring this kind of success to this company.
That feels, yeah, really strong. The material calls it a magical sentence even.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
It works as this brilliant summary and projection. You've just spent time proving your value with past results, ideally with numbers. Now, you're explicitly connecting that track record to what you could do for them in their company. You're saying confidently, look at my past results. They show the kind of positive impact I can deliver here. It shows intention, belief in yourself, and it draws that clear line from your history to their future. So the whole structure, pulling it all together from the material for why should we hire you, start strong. Perfect fit. Follow up immediately specific examples, unique skills backed by numbers or solid outcomes, and finish powerfully that forward-looking sentence linking your past wins to their future gains.
That really is a comprehensive strategy. It turns a potentially scary question into, well, a structured chance to really sell yourself with confidence and actual proof. Okay, let's shift now. Let's move to that other classic interview curveball. What is your greatest weakness? This one feels like walking through a minefield sometimes.
It can feel that way, yeah. And the material we looked at is crystal clear about the traps you need to avoid right away.
Yeah.
There are certain answers interviewers just hear over and over and over again, and they immediately signal, maybe a lack of real self-awareness or perhaps just an unwillingness to be straightforward. You absolutely positively should not say things like, my greatest weakness is I work too much, or, the cousin to that. My greatest weakness is I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
And definitely, please don't say, I am a perfectionist.
Right. Why are those such bad answers? What's going through the interviewer's head when they hear those old chestnuts?
Well, as the material says pretty bluntly, they're just too obvious, too silly. Interviewers can see right through them. The issue is you're trying to pass off a strength like being hardworking or detail-oriented as a weakness. It just sounds insincere. Interviewers aren't usually asking about weaknesses to catch you out. They're trying to understand how self-aware you are, how honest you can be, and whether you're capable of growth. Look, everyone has weaknesses. Pretending yours is actually just too much of a good thing. It suggests you maybe haven't reflected much, or you're afraid to be a bit vulnerable professionally. It doesn't build trust. So the core advice, the foundation here, is pretty simple but vital. Be honest. Pick a real weakness and acknowledge it. It's okay. What truly matters isn't that you have a weakness, but that you understand your limitations and, crucially, how you manage them.
Okay, honesty first.
Yeah.
Got it. But just naming a weakness, it can still feel like you're just highlighting something negative about yourself. What's the absolutely critical thing you have to add to make that honesty work for you and not against you?
This is it. This is the key for this question. The part that turns a weak answer, pun intended, into a strong one. The material really hammers this home. After you state your genuine weakness, you must, absolutely must, follow up by explaining what you are actively doing to address it or overcome it. You see, the weakness itself, that's only half the equation. The part the interviewer really cares about is seeing that you know yourself, self-awareness, and that you're proactive about getting better, commitment to development. It shows you have a growth mindset. You're resilient, you take responsibility.
Ah, okay. So it's less of a confession and more of a demonstration of self-improvement in action. The material had a good concrete example for this too, right? Can you take us through that one?
Yes, and it's one many people can probably relate to. The person identifies that they struggle with organization and time management. And struggle is a good word here, meaning you find it difficult, it takes real effort, they get specific. Punctuality, that quality of being consistently on time, hasn't always come naturally. They admit it's genuinely hard for them to organize tasks and manage their schedule effectively. See, that's a believable weakness, not a disguised strength. But then, the pivot. Immediately. They explain they've recently taken steps to address this weakness. Notice that verb address, again stressed on the second syllable here, meaning to deal with or tackle a problem. Even the word choice signals action, and what specific action. They'd entered a workshop, not just any workshop, but one specifically on efficient time management. That's tangible proof of effort. They didn't just wish they were better organized. They invested time, maybe even money, to learn how. And then they talk about the outcome. The workshop gave them useful tools and insights, and importantly, they say they are getting better now. That phrase, getting better now, is great. It's realistic. It doesn't claim the weakness magically vanished, but it shows progress, effort, and an ongoing commitment. So that full structure for the weakness question is really effective. Be honest about a genuine weakness, ideally one that isn't absolutely critical for the core function of the job, and clearly state the specific, concrete actions you're taking to improve or manage it. Maybe mention you're seeing some progress. Shows maturity, self-awareness, initiative, all really positive qualities.
That makes perfect sense. It reframes it completely. It's about how you handle challenges, not pretending you don't have any. The material also briefly touched on the flip side, your greatest strength. How should someone approach that?
It's basically applying the same principles as the why hire you answer, but maybe focused on one key strength. Again, specifics are king. Don't just say, I'm a great communicator. No. Give specific examples. When did your communication skills make a difference? How did they lead to a good result? Highlight successes. And again, if you can, use numbers to quantify the impact of that strength. Something like, my ability to communicate clearly was key in resolving complex client issues, which helped us achieve a 95% client retention rate last quarter. Much stronger. And one really practical tip from the material. If you're struggling to pinpoint your strengths or weaknesses, ask people. Talk to former colleagues, managers you trust, maybe even friends who've seen you in action professionally or handling challenges. Sometimes an outside perspective is incredibly helpful for identifying things or just finding the right words to describe them.
That's a great suggestion. Getting that external view can really boost the self-awareness we've been talking about. Okay, let's switch gears a little now and focus on some of the specific language tools the material highlighted. These are words that can help you talk about your skills, experiences, even your weaknesses, just more precisely and professionally in an interview.
Definitely. Choosing the right words can really elevate how you come across. One important term the material brought up is acumen, A-C-U-M-E-N.
Acumen. It sounds sharp and strategic. What does it actually mean?
You nailed it. It means insight, keen understanding, and especially the ability to make good, quick, effective decisions, often in complex situations, within a specific area. It's about sharp judgment and strategic thinking. The material points out how it's often used professionally. You hear technical acumen or business acumen a lot. If you have strong technical acumen, it means you really understand the tech side deeply and can make sound choices there. Strong business acumen means you get how businesses work, market dynamics, strategy, and can make decisions that help the company succeed. Using a word like acumen just signals a higher level of understanding and judgment.
Right. So instead of saying, I'm good with business stuff, saying I possess strong business acumen sounds way more professional and carries more weight. Okay, what's next on the list?
Excel. E-X-C-E-L. And we're talking the verb here, obviously not the spreadsheet program. It means to be exceptionally good at something, to be superior or among the best. It's a really strong verb for describing a skill where you genuinely shine. Instead of just, I'm good at, saying I excel at, suggests a much higher level of proficiency, real mastery. For instance, I excel at building long-term client relationships implies you're outstanding at it. Or the material used an example like someone having excelled in mathematics in school, meaning they were really top tier in that subject.
Got it. Clearly signals high performance. Okay, how about the word head used as a verb, like headed?
Yeah, when you use head as a verb in a work context, it means to be the leader, the person in charge, the manager of a team, a department, a project, something like that. Just a very concise, professional way to indicate leadership. Like in that customer support example we discussed, I headed the customer support department, clearly and directly states you were the leader of that team.
It feels a bit more formal maybe than just I manage the team, but that's fine too. Headed often implies overall responsibility.
Okay, clear and concise for leadership roles. Now, circling back to weaknesses, the material used the word struggle.
Right. Struggle, S-T-R-U-G-G-L-E. As a verb, it just means to find something difficult, to have to put in significant effort to do it. It doesn't come easily, and is used really effectively in that weakness answer structure to honestly describe a real difficulty. The material gave examples like someone who struggled with math, or might currently struggle with learning Chinese, or is struggling to meet a sales target. And of course, the example we focused on, I struggle with time management. Saying, I struggle with, is a very honest way to admit a challenge, and it perfectly sets up the next part of the answer, what you're doing about it.
Yeah, it conveys that sense of difficulty really clearly. Connected to that time management example was punctuality.
Punctual, P-U-N-C-T-U-A-L, is the adjective meaning being on time. Punctuality, with the I-T-Y ending, is the noun. It refers to the quality or the state of being on time consistently. So in that weakness example, the person said punctuality wasn't a strength, meaning the habit or quality of always being on time was something they found difficult. It's the specific term for being reliably on time.
Okay, good distinction. And lastly, that really key verb for dealing with problems, address.
Yes, the verb address, A-D-D-R-E-S-S, with the stress on the second syllable, remember, not like a mailing address. To address an issue or a problem means to deal with it, acknowledge it, and actively try to resolve it. It's so crucial in that weakness answer. Saying you have addressed this weakness recently shows you didn't just notice it, you took action. The material also gave other examples like, we need to address this issue, or addressing these problems is our top priority. Using the word address really signals that proactive stance, taking responsibility for tackling challenges.
That word choice definitely emphasizes being proactive, tackling things head on. The material also quickly listed a few other useful terms in its vocabulary review section.
Yeah, just to quickly run through a few others that could be really helpful. Perfect fit. We talked about this one means the ideal person for the role, great compatibility. Shortcoming. Basically another professional way to say weakness or flaw. Asset. This is a good one. A valuable quality, skill, or even person. You want to position yourself as an asset. Triumph. A significant success or achievement. Good for adding impact when describing a major accomplishment. Prospect. In this context, it means a candidate who is seen as likely to succeed or be chosen. You want to be seen as a strong prospect. Implement. Means to put something like a plan or decision into action, like implemented training, shows execution, training session. Pretty straightforward, a meeting or course to learn skills or knowledge. And of course, CV, curriculum vitae, that foundational document outlining your experience, which these answers build upon. Having this kind of vocabulary ready just allows you to talk about yourself and your background with more nuance, more precision, and more professionalism, which is exactly what you want in an interview.
That really is a valuable set of tools to have in your back pocket. Now, the material did briefly look just beyond these questions to what happens right after that initial interview.
Right, it just touched on the idea of shortlisting. So after that first round where they ask these kinds of questions, the hiring team creates a shortlist. That means they pick out a smaller group, the top candidates from everyone they interviewed, who seem most promising and will move to the next stage. And then usually those people on the shortlist get contacted about the next step, often a second interview. That might be with more senior managers, maybe the head of the department, sometimes even higher up. They want a closer look at the top contenders. So how well you do in that first interview, especially how effectively you answer these core questions we've been dissecting, directly impacts whether you even make it onto that shortlist and get the call back.
Yeah, absolutely. Mastering that first impression, explaining your value, clearly it's directly tied to getting that chance to go further. So this deep dive has really focused on those make or break moments, hasn't it? We've unpacked why should we hire you, stressing, starting strong with perfect fit, backing it up with those concrete number-filled examples like that great customer support story, and then closing with that powerful statement linking your past success to their future.
Exactly. And we navigated the tricky, what is your greatest weakness question, emphasizing being genuinely honest about a real weakness. And this is the crucial part, pairing it with the specific actions you're taking to address it. And definitely avoiding those tired old cliches like workaholic.
Right. And we saw how using specific vocabulary words like acumen, excel, head, struggle, punctuality, address can help you sound more polished and make your points land more effectively.
Yeah, ultimately, doing well in these interview moments really boils down to, well, preparation. knowing yourself well, that self-awareness piece, and being able to translate what you've done in the past into compelling, specific evidence of what you could do for them. Show the impact, show your potential, show you're committed to growing.
And having these kinds of frameworks and language tools ready can seriously reduce the anxiety, right? It gives you more confidence, more control when you walk into that room. Thinking back to that idea of asking others for feedback on strengths and weaknesses, here's a thought to maybe leave you with. What if seeking out that kind of constructive feedback became a regular habit, not just for interviews, but throughout your career? How could that continuous learning loop shape your professional development long term? It's bigger than just getting the next job, isn't it? What really stands out to you from everything we've discussed today?
That's an excellent point to end on. That continuous feedback loop is absolutely vital for ongoing growth.
Well, thank you all for joining us for this deep dive.